Hey everybody, welcome to the Common Folk Podcast with Ben, Morgan, and Andy.
All right, it's Common Folk. We're back.
We sure are. It's Common Folk time.
Yeah, we have a guest.
What's going on today?
Yes.
Yeah. So we get a lot of feedback now, and that's been awesome to see and hear, whether people are giving us reviews on Google or Apple. And I feel like some of our best episodes are when we bring in small business owners, guys that got out there and gals that got out there and just said heck with the 9-to-5 regular job and kind of cut their own path. A guy that I met a few weeks ago through a networking group, he gave a presentation, and I was really blown away by it. And it's Adam Knecht over here with Envision Fitness as his business. So Adam, say hi.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And that's all we have for today.
That's it. All right, moving on.
No, wait. We want him to talk a little bit more. Sometimes I get sick of you two, so I'm glad we have a guest.
Amen. Thank God. No.
So
I'm kidding.
well, a lot of times too, what's cool, we've been able to dig into a lot of Nebraska-based stuff. You know, stuff that's going around here, and a lot of people who listen to this. I mean, we have listeners from kind of all over the country, and people think Nebraska. They think, man, you know, there's nothing going on out there. There's a bunch of cornfields,
corn, cows, and football.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we do have that, but there's other things.
Oh, I love talking corn and football.
I know you do.
Yeah, that's kind of your thing for sure. So it's kind of neat to get into some of these other little specifics that are going on around here that people don't realize, and is coming straight out of the Midwest, and then just kind of put our common folk spin on it.
There we go.
So Adam, Envision Fitness is the name of the company. What do you got going on there?
Yeah, so we're primarily a in-home personal training company. Over the last probably about 3 years, we've kind of taken that to a more United States brand. So we do some online training. When I first started, we did all in-home. I was going to build a fitness facility here in Omaha, and I kind of had people all over Omaha, Bellevue, and I was like, well, let's just keep this going and see what happens. And gosh, probably a year into it, I had like 45 clients, and we were just kind of growing and going. And then it grew into well before virtual even became a big thing. It was actually Skype. I was training some doctors down at UNMC, and they were doing their residency, and then they were moving up to Oregon. They're like, man, we don't want to stop this. They had great results. They were doing really well. And so we developed this whole Skype training. And I still train them today, 7 years later. We had a little bit upgraded from Skype now. We're not really quite doing that. So we have FaceTime and Zoom, which is a little better platforms to do it on. But yeah, it's been great. We have 13 different states we train in right now. And yeah.
So when you talk about training, what does that actually look like? Like, because you're talking about, obviously, you're doing video stuff from the platforms you're talking about. So are you like, you're showing them like different movements and things like that, or what's that mean?
Yeah, so we take a kind of a just basic approach. You know, most of our clientele are, you know, not people that want to lift 300 pounds on a bench press or squat 500 pounds anymore. We're trying to take people on their average daily life and literally be able to, hey, I want to go play with my grandkids and not feel like I can't get out of bed on Monday, right? I want to be able to just go hunting once in a while. I want to be able to go do this, go play golf and not have to go see the chiropractor on Tuesday because I can't move because I've swung the club 155 times. Well, if you're golfing with me, it'd be like 155. But, you know, and so we just do basic movements and range of motion and functional movement where I tell most people we probably won't lift a weight for the first 3 to 5 weeks because if you can't do a proper form squat or shoulder press through a proper range of motion, we're going to fix a lot of those habits first before we jump into really building muscle and lifting weights and things like that.
So is it live or are people?
Yeah, it's live. Yep.
Okay.
So you're actually doing the movement, and then people on the other end are doing the same thing.
Yep.
Gotcha. Yep. I actually like that. Like when you were saying, I think that would be hard though, just with working out. Like people probably just want to jump into it. So without the weights, I'm sure it's the mindset of getting the body conditioned and ready for the form. Yep. Because I'm sure they're expecting like they want to sweat and do all these things that you have to keep reminding them. I'm just thinking to myself that would be hard.
Yeah, it is sometimes. You know, people get through the workout and they're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. But then they wake up the next morning like, oh my gosh, I've never felt that muscle before. And I'm like, well, that's probably because you've never worked that muscle before. But so we don't really need to have a lot of stuff to make you sore. We
Right.
can make you sore through movements you probably haven't done in 25 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Is with what you're doing and what you're putting out there, is it some kind of like organization that you're a part of, or is it your own independent thing? Or
No, this is my own company. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 3 trainers that work for us, and then a part-time dietitian, registered dietitian.
Cool. And the brand that you're using, that's your own brand as well.
Yep.
The Envision brand.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So I looked you up on Facebook. You have a Facebook account and I just want to quickly read these couple of sentences here because I think it kind of speaks volumes to what you got going on and what you envision. Catch that?
Got it.
All right. A little wordplay there.
that's-
Oh wait,
Say,
you
huh?
need the drum thing. Da-da-da.
Is it this one? No,
No.
not that one.
It was money, though.
That one. Just a little late, guys.
At Envision Fitness, we look forward to helping everyone reach their goals. We will push beyond what you think your limits are. Success lies just outside of your comfort zone. And here, we plan to have you be a success for other people around you. So you use you and your. It's very driven towards who you're talking to, but you end it with success for the people around you. So already it's like painting a different picture in my mind than what I usually see from fitness organizations, gyms trying to sell memberships, around January 1st, things of that nature. So could you take a minute and kind of walk me through how did you come up with those couple of sentences there, and why is that posted on, your Facebook page when we're looking up about, Envision Fitness?
For sure. So I'm a big believer in peers motivate peers. But I'm also a big believer in, you were talking about January 1, New Year's resolutions. That's a big time for gyms and the fitness world and the industry. But we talk a lot about motivation only goes so far, right? You're not going to be, I like to work out. I'm not motivated every freaking day to go work out, right? There's days where I lay in bed at 4:30 or 5 or whatever time I have to get up to go work out, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it. I'd rather just go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Right? But it's the why behind the what is what's going to create why I'm actually going to get up and go do that workout. Right? And most of the time, it's not strong enough if it's just, I got to be healthy for me. But if you figure out maybe it's for my kids, I want to set a good example for my kids, or I want to do this for my parents, or whatever that why behind the what is usually a little bit more beyond yourself. So we dive into a lot of that with our clients and really get into that because, you're only going to be motivated for so long. And then you're going to be like, this stinks. I don't want to do it anymore.
It's so true. It's so easy to be like, it's not that big of a deal. But if you put your kids on it or, something else.
Being there for your parents or whatever.
Yeah, you're going to do it for someone else probably.
100%.
Yeah.
And that I just noticed this, a recent post on your There's an Athlete in Everyone page. Yeah. Tim Fertig, is he one of your guys?
He's a trainer, yep.
And I think I met him at one of those group sets. But he said, let go of motivation. And he wraps that up with consistency beats willpower. And, that's exactly what you're talking about, right?
All day long. Yeah.
It's just, you see so many of those T-shirts and those posts online with, just a cut guy or gal. And that's why you got to drink this. That's why you got to do that. And your take at it is like, no, let's start slow and let's figure out things that we could do every day to build a habit, to build consistency. It's not about benching 300 pounds, which you can see I can't do that. I never could.
You look like it, kind of.
Yeah.
What
God.
are you, Andy? Like $130? You're like my size.
Whiz.
Oh, she got you there.
Yeah, she
It's
did.
not bad that you're little. I don't think it's.
And my hands, they're not very big either.
Oh my gosh, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying you're shorter. Is that
Yeah. Well, I am what I am. Yeah, I'm like 5'9", 145.
okay? So yeah,
I
There
did
you
touch the
go.
scale once in college at 175 when I was
Stop.
playing football. Yeah,
You really bulked up.
I was 175 my senior year, but that was creatine, 2 times a day, eating 4 meals a day, a lot of protein. And,
I'm feeling bad if I offended you. I'm
no.
not. It's
No,
not like you're
feel good.
5
see a
foot
picture
with
of
a
this.
belly.
I'm having a hard time believing you can get to 175.
No,
And we're talking to a trainer.
I did it,
I
yeah.
want to see a picture.
All right, I'll dig one up for you.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to bring it
Yeah.
in because I
Yeah.
want to see it now
Yeah,
too.
we'll post it.
Did Ashley ever see that size?
Well, yeah, we were dating at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then as soon as
That's what got her, probably.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was the football playing weight. But yeah, as soon as my senior year wrapped up and the next thing was, Cancun spring break, that weight went away. That definition went away.
That's and this is not what we're talking about, but I can relate. Being like a slim guy, you have way more trouble putting on weight than losing weight.
I do.
Yeah, because you have to work hard to get bulked up, to add weight, whatever, and then as soon as you stop, it all fades.
Oh, well, doesn't that suck?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Let me
Men
be a
have
man
problems.
for a
Adam
second,
Teller,
okay?
men have issues too.
A lot more issues than women.
yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
Thank you.
I actually believe that a lot.
So I was totally gonna get into something. I don't even remember what you guys were talking about before, because that got.
Well,
The Andy assault got really.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I'm so sorry,
I'm
Andy.
kidding.
But both of you are skinny. I mean, skinny guys.
Yeah.
Well, I had something I was thinking of. So, is your clientele normally an individual? You said a group. So is it either or like you train people? Will you go to their house? You said too. Like you'll do personal training. What do you prefer? One or the other? Would you rather go train somebody in person, or is it harder on Skype? Like, just personally,
I wouldn't say it's harder. It's different.
Okay.
Right. So, I mean, I probably would say I prefer the in-person just because of the relational
it's
standpoint.
like the body to body. Yeah.
For
right.
sure.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that the Skype or the virtual can't work or
Yeah.
can't do it. It's just a little bit of a different technique, and they have to do a lot of different things as far as like, when I'm working with you in person, I can move around you, right? See different angles, see how your squat looks from different angles. When they're doing it, I am actually having them move for me.
Okay.
So it makes it just a little bit, especially early on when we're just getting to know each other and getting to feel like, what can you do and what can you not do?
Yeah.
And what hurts or what doesn't hurt.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. But you do both.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So, or do you want to get into that more? Or?
Well, and he's getting into, or you've been in discussions with doing some group work, and I was one that I thought you'd be interested in with a cheer facility.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
and what all goes into that, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so we've been in talks with a cheer facility here in Omaha about working with their athletes and doing some different things with them. And, a lot of people kind of dismiss cheer, probably me too, until I really thought about it. But cheer are athletes too, right?
Mm-hmm.
They need that explosive edge. They need the flexibility. They need the ability to jump, spring, handsprings, flip, tumble, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So the more we can add stuff into that, the greater we can create their learning curve when they're with their coaches personally learning cheer. Well, the more they can control their body and have that jump and ability to explode, the faster their learning curve is. So we've been in talks with a facility here in Omaha about doing some stuff for them, and where that works, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that might spin into like football teams,
Yeah.
basketball teams,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards.
Our daughter cheers nationally, so might be
huge.
at that cheer gym, but I know there's a couple gyms that are competitive in town. So,
Yeah.
anyways, but yeah, it is definitely a sport. Although
It is.
a lot of
And they
people
they
think-
definitely need that expertise. Like I'm sure they have people internally that are inexpert in one way or another, but if you can bring somebody in to kind of show them like, hey, think about this, think about that, move this way, whatever, to prevent injuries and to be more competitive. Like we've run into a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, and with our oldest, she's a competitive soccer. She played Colorado State, just got done. So yeah, she's always had that training. I feel like been to, train with a ton of people, range of motion, all the things. So you're not getting hurt. So I think that could apply to a lot of things, what you do.
Yeah. In the cheer world, it's not very common, right? I mean,
No, it's really not. I mean, they
Is it?
condition, but a lot of it, old school, and I mean, we've been doing it for years, was a lot of just go run. Like they're
Yep.
running or they're doing bear crawls or whatever. And they got to do more than that. Like, and they are now,
Yep.
but it's coming around, I think, more with cheer.
100%.
Yeah.
I think what a lot of people don't realize is that additional training and expertise and, sight from someone like yourself that sees something and goes, man, you guys need to do this, you need to move this way, whatever. It results in a little bit more success, but also a little bit more satisfaction. So you've got the athlete that's out there doing their thing, and if they can achieve more success by what they're doing because of the results that they're getting from something that you're coaching on. They're way more engaged. And that's the thing about youth sports, is we get into these things where these kids get out there and they're not having a lot of success, and there's just a few things that kind of need to be tweaked, and the club's doing the best they can, but they don't have the experts, there on staff. So bringing someone like you in, I think, makes a huge difference. So is that kind of something you guys are thinking about maybe targeting, or?
Yeah, I mean, we were just approached on it from the owners that own the cheer, and I've been called many times by some coaches in club sports here in Omaha. I just haven't had the facility to actually do it, so I've kind of shied away from it. I still do some one-on-one stuff. I mean, I got a couple of college athletes I've trained and things like that I do one-to-one with them. But if we're going to bring in like a whole team, obviously we need a bigger facility, and that's where this is kind of coming in. We're helping them design a weight room and a fitness room and things like that, and how to set it up so it's going to be successful for the athlete. And I mean, fun part is a lot of people don't know is, strength conditioning for athletics really started in Nebraska, right? With Boyd Epley back in the, late 60s, I think it was. And that's where it kind of just started to snowball. And now it's starting to snowball into cheer and other sports that you really just don't think about as much or think about them as athletes, but they're big-time athletes. I mean, they're jumping and exploding and cutting and just as much as any athlete.
And a lot of people who haven't been through it don't realize, like, when you get to the college level and you start going through all of the things that they have at their disposal, from a college standpoint, the amount of training and stuff that they're doing behind the scenes that have nothing to do with the actual game or the actual, whatever the thing they're trying to achieve, that's the biggest part of it. 100%. I mean, we went through a ton of walkthroughs with schools with Elise, and we were seeing these things that they're doing behind the scenes with this testing and these monitors and all these kinds of crazy things that we were looking at. We're like, oh my gosh. And then you look at it kind of analytically and you're like, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
They need to work on that. They need to work on that. Our son, I was just telling him this week, he's 12, and he loves sports. He's playing football. He's playing basketball. He's, doing his thing. And I was like, man, you have to work on – we need to find somebody for you that can teach you how to run better. Like, just straight up your motion.
Because he used to be, but I feel like he's growing, so things are changing. Don't you think?
And it's not. I feel like it's not something that people would have thought about in the past. It was just like, throw him out there on the field, let him go. Like, oh, that kid's kind of fast. That kid's not. That one's a rocket. Blah blah blah. But I'm watching him, and I'm like, you've got what it takes, but your motion is totally out of whack. And I don't know how to train you that. And not only that, you're not going to listen to me because I'm your dad.
Right.
So
true.
Yeah. So let's find somebody that's an expert in this area and get after that.
That's funny you mentioned that. So I did some stuff down at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. The number one thing they did with every athlete that they had was just strictly their gait, which is walking, running, heel to toe, what that looks like, then the angle of how your foot's coming out as you start to slowly speed up on a treadmill and run. And they literally broke that down into every little aspect and build it up from there. So if you could walk really well, but we got you into a slow jog at like 6 miles an hour on a treadmill, and you started to have a little bit of a kick out with your foot, they would design that so they built the muscle up so that kick out wouldn't happen at 6 miles an hour, and then jumped up to 9 and 12 and
That's
15
huge.
and whatever. Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that, and that's one of the things we see with athletes today is they go into just what you're talking about, right? We need to jump in. Well, the overall design of it is right, we want to make sure the athlete feels like they're getting something out of it. So we jump right into box jumps, jumping over hurdles, single leg lateral hops. And I'm not saying none of that stuff's not good, but if you don't fix the gait or fix that portion of it first, all you're doing is increasing the odds that they're going to get hurt when they actually are at full speed on a basketball court or a soccer field or something like that, because there's going to be a difference in torque from front to the back muscle.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I think about it, and he's like a stomper. Like, we'll go running outside, and I'm like, quit, your feet are so loud. Like, yes, there's so many little things, but if you peel back the onion layer and start fresh, it's so true.
Yeah.
It's funny what like coaches can do. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it if you have a college athlete, and you were talking about a little bit, right? I always tell people all the time, like, you only really spend maybe 3 to 4 months with your actual coach in the sport specific.
Yeah.
Right? You spend like 8, 9 months with a strength and conditioning
With the
coach.
trainer.
Yeah. So that relationship and the development that they can get in that 8 to 9 months is where how much that coach can actually take that player development and go from here to here by next season. It's important.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a category that needs some help for sure. So one of the things that I wrote down here that I wanted to get into, we've been talking about a little bit so far, what you're doing in your business and so on and so forth, but I'd like to know a little bit about what your background is and how you kind of got into this. So, coming up, where'd you grow up and how did this become something for you that was of interest and you wanted to build a business on?
Yeah. I don't really know if I want to say where I grew up. So I grew up in Wood River. I don't really know how popular that is anymore.
I don't know where that is.
Oh, man. Home of Scott Frost?
I was
What?
going to say hometown of Scott
Man.
Frost.
I mean,
Sorry.
it used to be like
Former head coach.
Andy knows.
Andy's like smiling from ear
it
to
used to
ear.
be like the best place in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like, oh, you guys are from the trash area now.
That
Shoot.
place.
Thanks a lot.
We
Yeah.
we still basically give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, things happen.
They
you know.
do, especially over the course of 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Ouch. But yeah, I grew up there, always into sports, love sports. And so I kind of had a passion of doing that. I've always really liked the body. So I was going to do a PA route, went to UNK, played a year of football. I also shot on the U.S. Olympic team. And it just didn't really mix real well.
Real quick, you said you shot on the team. What's that mean?
Like skeet shooting.
Okay, so you had a shotgun and you were shooting.
Yep. Clay
Okay.
targets. And so.
Fun.
So that's a totally different thing. I mean, based on what we talk about, we talk a lot about hunting and outdoors
Yeah.
and things like that. How do you feel like that affected did that have an effect on your fitness journey, or was that just something that you got into that was just fun?
No, it didn't really have an effect. It was just something I got into that I guess helped grow my fitness journey, just from the simple standpoint that I used the connections I had down at Colorado Springs after I graduated from UNK with a sports medicine degree to go down there and work with their athletes down there on strength training programs, injury prevention programs, sometimes rehabbing injuries and things like that, and working with orthopedic doctors and physical therapists on here's what this athlete needs to do to get better and things like that. Once I did that, I kind of was like, I love the sports aspect of it, but I just like, oh man, something's missing. It's just not totally right. So I come back to Omaha, started a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness, and that was kind of what I tell people is I got to work with all the things I like with the body and the movement and studying people. But then the hard aspect of it for me was watching people do a squat that they never thought they could do, watching people go play with their grandkids or go run a mile or go walk a mile, heck, even something like that. And that was my hard aspect of it, and watching people lose 50 and 60 and 70 and 100 pounds and changing their life and getting their life back on track. And I've just loved it ever since. And so I worked my way up at 24 Hour Fitness and kind of self-driven and always wanted to own my own business. So I don't know, one day, I think I was 27, I was like, sure, I'm just going to do it and see what happens.
What do you think put that drive in you to have your own business?
I don't know. I really don't know. I've just always been, that person.
It wasn't the
something you wanted to do.
hours or like working for yourself. No.
No.
Okay.
Obviously, working for yourself is a lot of hours. There was
Yeah.
a lot of hours, 10, 12-hour days, still is.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, it just, I don't know.
You didn't have any examples or anything as far as like parents or family or friends or anything that were doing that kind of thing? It was just something that was in you, huh?
Yeah, no, my parents just worked both 8 to 5 jobs, and they made good livings, but no, none of them were entrepreneurs or self-starters. None of them were farmers or anything like that. We grew up a lot around farming community, obviously, so I saw some things there, but no, I just had always
Something
wanted
in
to
ya.
control my own destination.
How old were you when you started the business?
27.
And did you have family? That's what I want to ask.
Okay.
I didn't. I was
Okay.
just single, just me. Yep.
Single,
That
looking
makes it
to
a little
mingle?
easier. Yes. Still.
Still.
And when you started doing that, I don't know if you were still close to your family, like your parents and whatever. If so, did they have any kind of, did you gather anything from them? Like, I'm going on my own. I'm doing my thing.
Not too much. So I had a friend that I would say maybe was a little bit of a mentor to me. And he was, which was funny, he was in the banking world, lending mortgage. So he wasn't even an entrepreneur, but he did some stuff on the side, some side hustles that I guess you could acquire that was an entrepreneur. But he told me from a long time, he's like, dude, you need to do something on your own. He's like, you'd be successful. He's like, you got just the traits and characteristics. And so I guess that's probably what kickstarted it. But I always kind of had it. I mean, I'm not very good at listening to other people. It's kind of a stubborn side.
That's a big trait.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that is totally him right here with the business thing.
Yeah.
But you also had a support system, talking about your family, both having good jobs. They weren't like, oh, Adam, don't do that. Don't take that risk. So like, you did have that.
For sure, yeah.
Or were they saying, what are you doing?
No, they've always encouraged me to, just follow your passion and what you do. And, they pretty much were always like, if you do that, you'll be successful.
Yeah.
And they're right.
Go get it.
So they were able to see kind of the vision that you had, and they were supportive of it. I think that's fairly unique, at least from folks that I've talked to, like in the entrepreneurial world, where you've got a family that's always been kind of doing that 9 to 5 and those typical jobs, and they see someone along the line that wants to go out on their own and do something, and they're just super nervous, and they're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know, like I'm worried for you, like I'm not sure if this is going to work kind of thing. But if you've got that backing, man, that's huge.
Oh, it's big time. Yeah, I agree. But it's like what we talk about with our clients, right? I mean, you got to get outside your comfort zone. Well, so do I.
That's a great parallel.
Right? I mean, if I'm not willing to do it, why should I expect you to do it? So it's different industries, right? I mean, one's your health and one's a financial or, entrepreneur endeavor or whatever, but
same
still
kind of
the same
process.
principle.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it makes sense. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, and a lot of times you do see it overwhelmingly where your family and friends don't want you to take that risk. And whether they have, I feel like it's almost disguised as they want the best for you, but you're starting to break out of that little knit group. And whether we want to admit it or not, we don't always support people reaching out and going for more. It's like, man, then you're going to put pressure on me to go out and do this or do that.
Sure,
you know what I mean? Like it's just this weird deal where you would expect everyone to have support, but in reality, a lot of times people kind of keep you where you're at, and unless you're going to break out and meet a new group of friends or whatever. And that's really getting out of your comfort zone, when you want to make a huge life change or start a business, especially one where it's Envision Fitness, where you're kind of telling people this is how you should lead your life or this is how your day-to-day should go.
Yeah.
Did you see a transition in that? Did you lose friends, gain friends, now you look back at it?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, anytime you do something different, you're going to, like you said, you're going to step on toes. You're going to make people feel uncomfortable. Right. And, I have friends that just did the 8 to 5 job, even though, I never looked at them any differently. But, our schedules were changed, right? I mean, my schedule was busy. I was busy until 8, 9 o'clock because I wanted to make it work. And that was what you had to do. You had to put in time to make it work. And so we didn't always have the time to, go hang out or do this or do that. So, yeah, there was some flack of like, you never have time for us anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. And you're like, doing
But
it
now
at my
I got
own
more
company.
time. And they don't have time for me anymore. So,
Right.
Isn't
So
that
you
funny?
were 27, didn't have a facility, just decided I'm going to start training people. How'd you get the word of mouth out? I mean, how'd you grow it?
Yeah, so I just started everybody I'd connected with up to that point. I basically told them what I was doing, and if they knew of somebody or if they themselves were interested, and here's what I was doing. And I started with, I think, my first month, I don't remember, I had maybe 4 or 5 clients.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, word of mouth moves fast, right? If you do things and do what you say you're going to do for them, people start losing weight, and, you got 100 friends that notice real quick, like, wow,
Absolutely.
what are you doing? I'm working with this guy.
Yeah.
And so
Cool.
it just kind of grew and grew and grew. And yeah, it was fun.
So you would go to their houses, or they would be at a gym. Would you go with them?
So everything we did was all in-home
Okay.
to start.
In-home. Okay. So
we did
people
all
had
in-home.
to have the equipment.
Or even
just
if they
whatever.
didn't. Yep, we brought it. And then we
Gotcha.
got some contract with some local country clubs and worked with some of their members and things like that.
Okay.
And now we have a space that we do rent out here in Omaha, and but probably, again, still 75-80% of everything we do is in home.
Yeah.
And which was huge when, the pandemic hit. It was we were already there, and
you're like, I can
no
keep
worries.
coming.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Oh, that's sweet.
There's a lot of things that COVID affected in a positive way, and that in-home fitness training was probably one of the bigger ones that actually saw a positive effect from that.
For sure.
I would think.
Yeah, it was. It was huge. The funny part is the amount of calls we got from people like, I go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, but I all of a sudden don't know what to do at home to make, like, well, it's no different. You just don't have 90 pounds to lift. Like,
yeah.
We just have to recreate the wheel and be creative.
Yeah.
Just figure out a different in-home setting.
Yeah.
Right?
So then do you do food plans and meal stuff along with that? Is that a huge part of your training too, or
100%?
Okay.
I mean, I tell people all the time, like, you can't you can't go out work a bad diet, right? I mean, you put crap in, you can go to the gym 7 days a week, 2 hours a day. The results aren't going to be very good.
Yeah.
So we take a little bit of a different approach. We don't really necessarily give you a meal plan like, here, eat this every single day, because it's just not sustainable for most people. So we take most people's lifestyle and we find out, right, like our biggest one is we have busy parents that have 2 and 3 kids.
Yeah.
They're in multiple sports, right? And they're like, well, I work till 3, 4, 5. And I go home and I grab this kid from school. I go drop him off over here. And then I go grab the other kid and I drop him off over here. And then by the time I go pick this kid up from school, I drop him back off at home. So hopefully somebody can.
Wait, you're talking about
Exactly,
my life?
right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty similar, right?
Okay.
So to understand that, like, you don't have time to cook this chicken salad every night or this steak or this or whatever. So we try to create things, and we tell people, we're looking for a lifestyle change. This thing isn't going to happen overnight. We live in a microwave society, which we forget about that. Like, success just doesn't happen overnight, and it's not going to in this arena either. And if it does happen overnight, it's probably not going to be sustained.
Yes, very
right?
true.
And so we talk about, like, we just want to change one habit, like, per week. And then we might change another one.
And so what habit could that be? Like,
Could be
stop
increasing
drinking
water.
Okay. Or stop drinking a soda, or
Exactly.
just like quit or start doing something new every week.
Absolutely.
And like they check in with you, or
Yeah,
it's like
so we'll
accountability
create
thing?
whatever their habit is we want to create. So we usually do one for nutrition and one for exercise.
Gotcha.
And so nutrition, 90% of the time, it's always starting with water. We just don't drink enough water
Okay.
most of the time for us as humans.
Right.
And then exercise, it really depends on what they're doing. So it might be a flexibility thing. It might be a, creating a different exercise or whatever. It might be just steps. Hey, let's go from 5,000 steps to 5,500 steps and just hit that every single day this week.
And I think that goes back to like what we always said, we were saying earlier about kids sports. I mean, you see a tiny bit of success, you're going to want to keep going. When you don't, you just start like, I'm going to throw in the towel.
Yep.
Or this is no fun anymore.
And it just starts, like you said, starts building confidence. Like, oh my gosh, I did it. I went from 5,000 to 5,500.
I mean, it sounds so stupid though. Like, oh, I did it. I drank more water today. But really, it's not.
It's
like,
not. Because it's hard.
Yes. Yeah. That's so true.
Well, this plays into your tagline, right? Success is earned one win at a time. And I like how you kind of left that open, because anything can be a win. Drinking more water, not drinking a soda today. Like quantify it to you.
Yes.
To your battle plan, if you will.
Yep.
Now, for me, this was opening deer season this past weekend. And I'd always take Kylo out for a walk and then play fetch with him. And that was only like a quarter-mile walk. I walked like 10 miles this past weekend. And you know the hills where we're at. I'm kind of hurting right now. So I need to get on a deer hunting fitness regimen right now.
Dude, you're like almost 40 now, aren't you? Or you are 40?
I am 40.
You just
41.
turned 40,
Yeah.
Or you turned 41, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. 41.
You got
He's
old
older than us, Ben.
balls, bro.
I'm just an old little guy.
I was just going to say he's an old little guy, too. Andy, man, we are just
Just
raking
ripping,
you
man.
today.
Yeah.
Well, Is it like this normally?
Well, it's going to be, because I get to edit this, so we can cut all this.
No, leave it in. This is good.
I will.
When do you see
for sure.
people really, is it for, I mean, people are like, 40. Do you see people going, not down the hill, but it gets getting harder? Is there like an age that you can like think in your mind that you're not in your 20s anymore, you're Like it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. So you mean like as far as like metabolism
Yes,
just slowing
yeah.
down?
Just everything gets tougher.
Or
yeah.
is it not like a set range?
It's not really a set range. The whole metabolism slowing down is kind of a myth.
Okay.
Because it's just built on what you've done. So I would probably say if I was going to put a range, I'd say probably mid-30s because most people have been into a corporate industry for 10 to 12 years at that point in time.
Okay.
So a lot of times, you're sitting 8 hours a day. Then you think, well, if I sleep 7 hours a day, and then a lot of times I go home and I watch TV for 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, right? That's a lot of sitting. We don't move a lot.
Yeah.
So you do that over time and time and time again. Well, those muscles are shortening. Those muscles are getting weaker.
Okay.
And now you start to get a little bit of pain in your joints. And you're like, oh, man. So I don't want to go work out because it hurts, right, to do a simple little squat and things like that. So it's really not the metabolism that's slowing down. It's actually just that we're slowing that process down for them.
Okay.
Right? And
the
then,
conditioning of the body.
Yeah.
We're not.
And then if you think about all the
oiling
processed
it.
foods and
Yeah.
that slows all that stuff. So
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Well, we've all hit that.
Yeah.
We're not. Can I ask how old you are?
yeah, I'm 24. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah.
38.
Okay. Okay. So you're in that range then.
I'm getting
of what
there.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
But
Are
yeah.
you feeling any differences?
I haven't.
No.
I mean,
I still run
hello,
like a
he works out
4.40.
all the time.
No, but I mean that's the point I'm getting to. And,
Oh, okay.
and you're lying about what you just.
What? I haven't timed it. That's the last time I ran it. Was that?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, obviously staying active and focused on what you're focused on probably that makes a huge difference. I have a lot of buddies, and I feel like I've been a late bloomer on everything. And we started hitting 30 and getting over 30 and get those mid 30s, and all my buddies were like, "Gosh, dang it, man! This and that. I'm putting on weight. This is happening. Blah blah blah." I feel like when I hit 40, it was almost like on the day. I was like, "Oh my god, dude!" Like everything started coming down. And here I am. Was it November? And that was March.
Yeah.
So how
You're
many
going to be
months is
41
that?
soon.
That was a few months, and I haven't done anything about it yet, and I absolutely need to. Like,
Yeah, we talk about it.
Well, you switch to light beer. You're making that's one win, right?
That's
Yeah.
a
Well,
perfect.
It's always been light,
always drank.
Andy. Don't give him
Oh,
a
okay.
lot of light beer.
that. Don't give him that.
Yeah,
So maybe it just needs to go to a moderate amount of light beer.
that's probably part of it. Yes.
Ben needs to
Yeah.
start with the water, is what we were
Water's-
talking about.
Yeah, water's a big
Like,
thing. I
he
mean, you can
does
see what I'm
not.
drinking right now.
That is not good. He knows that.
So you got water. Yeah, you got water. Just the. I mean, I feel like we got a lot of activity. We probably have more activity than most because we're always running around doing things. Like we're not sitting. I mean, I do spend a fair amount of time in front of a computer, but we're doing a lot of activity.
But it's not weight training. It's not as specific
Not
to
even the
what
weights.
you need to
just
do
like
better.
just getting out and getting active, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, I need to do it. Andy.
Yeah.
Andy doesn't
Do you
need
work
to do
out?
It. He's still 135.
I do have a little weight bench in my home office, and I try to hit that at least 3 times a week.
Okay.
And it's just real light weights.
Yeah.
But I'll skip a lot of times. Like I'll go a week without doing anything, and then I'll feel bad, and then it makes it harder to do it the next time.
Once you stop, it's
Yeah,
so hard to
it really
start
is.
again.
And I have a problem with just keeping myself accountable, and then you'll fall into that, well, I'm still doing more than most. Well, don't compare yourself to most, right? Compare yourself to you or however you want to look at
everybody's
it.
different. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I can still talk myself into it if I just don't feel good enough that day. You know what I mean?
Why do you think you compare yourself to most? Why not compare yourself to the best?
Oh,
Why don't people do that?
I like that.
Well, I feel like I've always, this is just me just thinking this through. I've always felt that don't compare yourself to the best or in any field because there is somebody out there better than you, period. Like,
Well, there always is.
Exactly. So I can try to make a free throw, but Michael Jordan will always be better than me. So like, I feel like maybe in some regards it's better to compare yourself to you yesterday. Like, are you beating yourself yesterday? And if I'm taking up boxing and I just straight up compare myself to Evander Holyfield or Bud Crawford here in town, well, man, I'm always going to know that I have no shot. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? It's just kind of maybe it's the
I get
defeatist
what you're
attitude
saying,
that I
but
have.
I'm wondering if you're saying like, why wouldn't you at least try to get to their level? Like it's going to push you more. Is that
100%.
rather than comparing to the minimum? I don't know, or the standard quote?
Or just your average, American.
Or your average Joe?
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, they're way overweight. They don't work out at all. You know?
So what is your thought on that?
Well, you hear a lot of people say that, like, I'm better than most. I'm like, well, yeah, but are you, I mean, does that satisfy you that you're better than most, right? Where I'm like, why don't we compare ourselves to the best? And I'm not saying you have to be Michael Jordan, right? But if you compare yourself to him and you try to reach that level, I guarantee you get to a higher level than you ever thought you'd get to before.
I'll buy that.
Right?
Okay.
And
Yeah,
your
for sure.
confidence will
Yeah.
go through the roof as you're growing and doing it anyways. It's not like you're going to be like, well, I know I can't ever beat him.
Still can't beat Michael Jordan.
Right.
I think also to your point, like we compare ourselves to the best in a lot of different things that we do. So like for you, Andy, you know, in let's say sports broadcasting, which is what you spend a lot of your time doing, you probably look at and look up to a lot of big time sports broadcasters.
Oh, sure.
And
yeah.
you're probably like, man, like what am I doing today to be as good as those guys? You know, we sit here, we're doing this podcast. You know, we talk about things all the time, you know, week to week, like how's it doing? What do the analytics look like? You know, we see what's coming out of some of these big names.
Right.
You know, how do we make it better? How do we strive to kind of get in that direction?
Right.
Not necessarily that we think or we want to be them, but how do we strive to get to towards what, you know, this in the same direction that they're moving?
I mean, a fun little tagline that's going along with what you're saying is, you know, if you shoot for the star, you'll at least end up amongst the star, or shoot for the moon, you'll end up amongst the stars. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, you know. And I overthink things. That's one of my problems.
I hear that.
You know what I mean? So,
Well, sometimes I think it's if you do that and just let yourself go, I'm just going to go try to be that. Right now, you just giving yourself permission to go succeed. Right, you kind of open that gate, like I'm just going to do it. So, and now it's just a matter of can we train your brain from not being so result oriented, right? On well, did I lose 10 pounds? Did I lose 15 pounds? Did I lose my 2 pounds this week? And be more process oriented.
right.
I know if we get to
journey.
the process oriented, that result oriented will come.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy the path. Enjoy the ride. You know, I'm seeing more and more of that. Like, don't get hung up on losing this number or that number or reaching that goal. Like when we put our videos on YouTube and we only get like 200 views, it's like, God, that's way better than so-and-so's and he's got 64,000 views. What's going on? Like, you can't get caught up doing that. You know, and that's probably where I'm looking at. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Try and beat that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a big one. You guys were talking about a couple of things earlier, but what about, and I didn't hear if you guys touched on this. I stepped out for a second. The mental game, do you get into that a lot? Did you guys talk about that earlier? Do you guys get into that with your program and your company? Because I feel like that's really like
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's not the motivation is going to get you there, to the discipline and that mental side of it. And yeah, I mean, that's the huge portion of it because we can talk ourselves out of it all the time, right? I don't feel like doing it. Oh my gosh, I don't want to go. Oh, I'm too busy. I have 400 things to do. I have kids going to 6 different practices. It's deer season. I don't have time to walk in the morning, right? Things like that. We constantly talk ourselves out of things. So we spend a ton of time on the mental side of things and just developing that and work. I mean, heck, from simple things of writing out, let's just write out affirmations, right? And we'll have people write out 3 to 5 affirmations. And I'm like, you need to read these every morning and every night. But it's funny how when you start saying stuff, how you slowly, your brain starts to believe it. And then your foot starts to step forward towards it, and your body follows second.
Yeah.
I feel like the more and more we get involved in things, and, you know, we've got 3 kids, our last one kind of coming up through sports now, and it's taken me all this time to really dial into this, but seeing how important that mentality is in just that game, and it's, you know, and that game can be applied to anything, you know, whether you're trying to get yourself more healthy or build a better podcast or do better at your job or whatever the case may be. You see these kids and it just becomes so much more apparent. I don't know if that's come with age or what. You see things and you're like, you can watch, like we'll watch a basketball game and we'll be 5 minutes into the game and I can see it. I can see it on the kids' faces and I know if they're going to win or lose just by their, you know, their
Body
behavior.
language.
Yeah, right. And it's all in their head.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it happens every time. So how important that mental game is to every single one of those things. Like, obviously, like you've said, it's a big part of what you guys do. It has to be.
Absolutely. It's huge, especially in youth sports. I talk to people a lot of times. I mean, I learned this growing up in the Olympic shooting and things like people talk to me about pressure and how do you handle pressure situations. And I'm like, it's really like your body's a muscle. It's a routine. So people ask, well, how do you handle pressure when you're shooting? And I'm like, well, I've shot this shot so many times.
It's habit.
It was just a habit. So, and I put myself into, right, if we want to talk the shooting industry, I'd be like, well, I put myself at low 8, the last target, I'm tied. If I hit it, I win. If I don't, I tie, right? And so I've put myself there before we even got there. And I've done that in practice so many times mentally, standing in that same position and shooting it over and over, right? It'd be no different than somebody standing at free throw line. Like, hey, bud, all right, you got 2 shots. You're down 1. Hit one, you tie. Miss them both, you lose. But you hit both of them, you win a state championship, right? And you put that kid in that situation 600 times. When he actually gets into it in the game, it's nothing for him.
He's ready.
He doesn't even think about it. It's just like, oh, cool. I've done this before. I hit this most of the time sitting with my dad at the free throw line.
And it's crazy. You feel like, at least for me, the mentality that I have, I'm very like looking at this process, and to me, it's like, no, it really shouldn't matter if you've got it down, you've got it down. Like like it's a machine. But the reality is, if the mentality's not right, you can be as good as anybody else out there, but if the mentality's not right, you're gonna miss.
Yep, 100% of the time.
Yeah,
Agreed.
And I think that's I think that's something that a lot of people don't talk about, and that you really have to realize.
Yeah. Yep.
So, from a business standpoint, what does your organization look like today? What are you guys up to? You have to get any specific numbers, but like kind of the breadth of the clients you're serving and those kinds of things.
Yeah, so we serve really anywhere from, probably our main clients anywhere from mid-30s to, I think our oldest client's 87 today. So we serve really anywhere in between there. I'd say the majority are probably 35 to 55. And, they're just in there, they want to lose weight or they want to just literally just feel better about themselves. Yeah. I try not to tell people, most people tell me, oh, I want to lose weight and blah, 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 right? I want to lose 100 pounds. Cool. But if you were the same weight, but you didn't hurt, right? And you could go play with your grandkids and you could go do this, or you could go to a football game and just sit in the bleachers and not be like, oh my gosh, I can't hardly move my back because I've been sitting here for 3 hours now. Would you be happy about the weight? Most people are like, well, yeah, actually I would be, right? So it's really not always just the weight loss and the number. It's really more of like, I want to be able to live the life I want to live now without, having to go see my doctor on Monday because I'm in pain because I just went and played golf for 2 hours on Sunday, or, right? I just went deer hunting and I can't hardly step and walk, right?
Yeah.
It's just simple things like that we take for granted. That's like, that's really what people want. And so that's probably our majority that we do. We do some athletes and things like that, but we're getting more into that. That's kind of, I guess, our next step as far as what we want to grow and develop, as we were talking with the Cheer Athletic and building a facility and things like that with inside that.
So it's more of just a lifestyle change for your everyday folks. I mean,
yep.
And that's who we're talking to. We're common folk,
yep.
right?
Yeah, we're
the everyday common folk.
Yeah.
Do you have a number of folks on your staff that are serving these people?
Yeah, so we have 3 trainers right now on our staff. We're looking to hire another one. Then we have a part-time registered dietitian that does more specific stuff. If we have people that really, get into diabetes and things like that, she helps out a lot with that. Because there's a lot of different medications that I don't necessarily know a ton about, but she does.
Yeah, you need those experts.
Yep.
Well, and it sounds like a lot of what you do now is virtual. So like anyone listening to this, whether they're in Great Britain, I mean, it's crazy who listens to this podcast and where they're from.
Yeah.
Where can they find you?
Yeah, they can go onto our website, go onto our Facebook, Envision Fitness, or our Instagram, which is probably 80% of the people get a hold of me as they DM me. And so, yeah, that's how we pretty get most people.
It's all specifically under Envision Fitness.
Yep. And I think our Instagram is Envision to be fit.
Okay.
So, which is kind of what you talked about. It's the mindset. You have to physically get there, or mindset-wise get there. That's where Envision came from.
For sure.
And then your body will follow it.
Yeah.
And by the way, guys, those hills up in Boyd County are really vertical. Like that's hard walking.
Oh, I bet.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I saw some too. We walked some yesterday too.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. I got to hear about this. You guys went deer hunting.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
All
We'll
right.
put you on our
there we
Huntley
go.
program. So I, some friends through the shooting industry, I got some friends that are Hoyt reps and things like that. So we put this whole Huntley, we call it,
Okay.
Huntley program
okay.
together
All right.
for people that are maybe going on an elk hunt into the Rockies and how they basically can go from zero to this and be able to hike for 5 days up at 10,000 feet. And,
Sweet.
yeah. So,
That's awesome.
see,
There we go.
got a plan for you.
Yeah.
I mean,
all
we were
right.
just talking about how he looks like Steve. What was his last name?
Ranella. Yeah, you look like Ranella.
So
Yeah.
anybody that knows Steve Ranella,
I feel like
Adam right here, sitting here, it's like his twin.
that would be a perfect combo if you and Steve Ranella got together and he's out.
long lost brothers.
Yeah. And he's teaching people how to hunt and
How to
scout
cook.
and so on and so forth. Yeah, cook, yeah. And you're like teaching people, here's how you need to be prepared for this whole thing physically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be
Yeah.
Put a backpack on, like all the stuff, right? Because you got to carry that, right, Andy?
Right. And venison is very nutritious, but you don't need 5 bowls of it. You know,
It's true.
you guys would totally pass for brothers. So it would be like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna send him a text when we get done here.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you got his text?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure somewhere.
Yeah, we're in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
The last thing that I want to know about, just because I'm super curious, and this doesn't really have anything to do with the business and all that, but you were talking about the shooting because I'm into that. I dig that. So you were doing Olympic skeet shooting? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
And that was through your college.
No, so this was so I'm highly competitive. To make a long story real short.
Yeah.
Highly competitive. I've always grown up in hunting. My dad's a huge outdoorsman.
Okay.
Me too today. And so we'd go pheasant hunting. I was probably 10, 11 years old. I couldn't hit the broadside of a board. Of course, I'm pissed, right? Because I've missed like 7 birds now. Ruins my dad's hunt because I'm just getting back in the truck. He's like, this is not even fun for me anymore. And I'm like, well, me either, So he had a friend that he worked with that did some skeet shooting. So we went out to the range. He's like, I'm going to take him out there and teach him some leads and things like that. And then he did like a league with this guy. And so I would always go with him and watched it. And then I got into shooting and just did some stuff. And the story he tells, I don't really remember this. I was like, man, it'd be fun if like the Olympics were on in shooting. And so he looked it up and saw that it was. And so we randomly, I'd never shot out of the state of Nebraska. And randomly he came to me. He's like, hey, let's go to Pennsylvania and shoot in this Grand, I think it was American Grand Am or something like that it was called. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds good. Let's go. I'm 12, I'm like, oh, whatever. Of course, we drive there. That's the worst drive ever for a 12-year-old.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, my Lord. I was like, can you
No
afford to
like
fly?
screens and all that kind of stuff at
Yeah.
that time. Yeah, you're just
No.
like you're sitting in the truck, just looking out
just
the window.
bored.
Yeah.
Right, going across the Midwest. And so, anyways, I get there, and I just happened to win it all. And my parents didn't think I would win it. But the thing of it is if you win it all, you get an invitation to go to the Olympic Training Center with the shotgun coach and shoot for him. And so I randomly went down there in January of, I don't remember what year it was, but he liked what he saw, and then he put me on the national development team, and gosh, it just kind of grew from there.
That's crazy.
That
It's
is so crazy.
Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
and I feel like a lot of people have a lot of confusion about this because there's all these words behind shotgun shooting clays. So skeet is specifically what?
So there's a high house and a low house, and you kind of make a half moon, and there's 8 stations in between there.
Okay.
And so you shoot anywhere from 2 to 4 shots at each station.
But it is clay pigeons.
It's clay targets, yep.
Okay.
And they're coming out of the house. The house is out in front of you,
Yep.
and it could go in any direction.
Nope, they're always going crossways from you. So
Okay.
depending on where you're standing is how they're coming across
Okay.
from you.
Okay. Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Because you move around the station.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like shooting clay pigeons. I think it's so fun.
It is fun.
It is fun.
Yep.
Yep.
But that's where that comes in. So now you like still bird hunt. You
Oh,
pheasant.
absolutely. Yeah.
And you're pretty good at it, I'm assuming.
I'm better than I was at 12, I can tell you that.
Okay. Have you ever watched, it's an old show. We watch a lot of stuff at home. Have you ever seen Top Shot?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, with
Okay.
Tom.
Yeah. All right. So you weren't on it. The show.
I was never on that one. No.
Okay.
No.
So we do funny little side story with Top Shot. We do the merchandise for the Veterans for Child Rescue, which is Craig Sawyer's company. And he was on there a lot if you watched that.
Yep.
So we handle fulfillment for them, but
That's cool.
great folks there. Yep.
Yeah.
Random.
Yep. Yeah, man, I feel like we could do a podcast just on that shooting topic because that's
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll have them back. We'll see how the numbers go on this one.
Yeah, if they're bad, I can get a guy that made the Olympics. He'll come down and we can chat with him for a little bit.
cool.
Both of you guys
Cool.
could. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Cool.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. It's cool to. I feel like as far as the physical health and fitness thing goes, like there's a little bit of stigma there, especially with people who aren't into it, and they're just kind of like, oh, these fitness people, like look at them, blah blah blah, all this kind of thing. And I feel like with some of the things that we've talked about a little bit today, it just kind of brings it to home a little bit, and it sounds like the folks that you're working with, again, as I said earlier, these are just common folks. Like you're just trying to help people build a better lifestyle all around.
Yep.
Like this isn't about becoming this big old like monster dude that's going to go out to the beach or whatever. Like it's just that's what people think. I feel like,
Yeah.
But here in the Midwest, it's kind of a little bit different thing, and that's cool that what you guys are doing. And then to kind of tie it into your background and the shooting sports and stuff like that, which I definitely want to learn more about down the road. But
Yeah.
it's cool.
Well, I've never told you this, but the first time I saw Adam and thought, okay, this might be something a fitness guy I could get into, We were at Topgolf and you were drinking a craft beer and just having a great time. And your golf swing was better than mine, but not so much better.
Yeah.
But I mean, you think of fitness guys and they're just carrying around like some weird green drink, and slurping it, No, you
Like
were
a kale
having a
smoothie.
beer, having a good time. So I thought, okay, this really is more about lifestyle and not overdoing it, moderation, right?
100%.
So-
It's 100% moderation.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
So you are are you in Omaha? Is that where you live?
Yep, I live in Omaha currently.
Okay. So it's not far. We got to get you back.
Yeah.
Our son is starting to shoot, and he's kind of learning the trap shooting. All the schools around here, and you may know this already, have trap teams. And again, like skeet, trap, there's all these different terms, whatever. It's a little bit different things going on, but trying to get him into that, and he loves it. So
He does.
and I'm trying to show him, and I'm okay, but no one ever
You're
showed
good.
me.
Oh,
I
come
just
on.
learned.
You were on the
Yeah.
team in high school.
If we could have somebody like you out and just get there with those kids, we've got probably 4 or 5 of them that are
Okay.
into that.
Yeah.
Man, it'd be cool to.
Yeah, let's do it. I love working. I do that on the side, and I love working with kids, and because I want
Oh.
to see the shooting program and
So
sports to
we
grow.
need
and-
Adam to train Joel on how to run
Yep.
and shoot. Okay, hired.
Well, I want to enter the shooting class because every time we do a pheasant episode, I'll miss, and that's always me, taking it on the chin and everyone making fun of me again.
I've seen you miss.
Yeah, you were there. You had the camera.
Well, just take me out, then you're going to look really good, Andy. Okay.
No, I'm. He knows I'm pretty bad.
No, you're not bad, but that one
Stop.
time it wasn't very good.
Yeah, it wasn't that. Yeah, that one time. The one time.
All right. So to close out, anything that you wish we would have asked? Anything else you want to put out there at all?
No, I mean, if you're just thinking about the journey, that's the big thing for people is, you don't have to start and be perfect at it, right? You're going to make mistakes along the way. Just start somewhere, right? Start as simple as walking. Walk a little further than what you did the day before, right? And eat a little bit less. But, don't wait. That's the biggest thing I talk to people probably about. Like, I hate when I hear, well, I'll wait for the perfect time. I'll wait till January 1. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you just wasted 60 days, 45 days. Why not just start now? Like, there's no perfect time. It's never going to be a perfect time to do it. So just do it now and quit waiting, because January 1, there's 1,600 other excuses you can make.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
So,
Wait,
Yeah.
don't wait till next Monday. I mean, it doesn't have to be like.
No.
I'm kidding. I mean,
Don't wait till next Monday.
But I know
No.
how people think. It's like,
It's true.
What, I want to
It's a
start
new
on
week.
a Wednesday? That's random.
Right.
But yeah, just start. Okay.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah, 100%. So Facebook, Instagram, Envision Fitness. If they search that, they're gonna find you.
Yep.
Cool.
Perfect.
Good deal.
Adam,
So great to meet you.
Connect. Yep.
Connect. Cool. All right, man. Well, we appreciate you coming out. Appreciate Andy putting this together. It's been
Thanks for
fun.
having me. It's great.
It's a good chat.
Yeah. We'll have some more plans for the future, though. I think sounds like.
Awesome.
Fun.
I'm into it. Yeah. Thanks, Adam, for coming out.
Thank
All
you for the
right.
invite. Appreciate it.
Thank
All
you
right.
guys. All right,
Peace.
we'll see you.